Hello everybody and welcome to Bash Course Economics. My name is Young Hank and today we're going to talk about economic structures. An economic structure is defined as a means by which a government or society distributes and organizes resources, services, and goods across a geographic area or country. Economic systems regulate the factors of production. The four generally established factors of production include land, natural resources, labor, work put in by people, capital, technology and space, and entrepreneurship, which is essentially innovation. What defines a given economic structure is generally understanding who controls what's being produced, how it's being produced, when it's being produced, and how these goods and services are being distributed. Examining economic systems is important when thinking about social issues both in your country and in the world. At first glance, some systems might be more fair or reasonable than others. Living in America, it's ingrained in our culture that capitalism is good and communism is evil. While one might be better than the other, they both have their theoretical merits and practical flaws. A useful lens to look at this through is that of distributive justice. Distributive justice is a term which refers to different distributions of benefits and burdens across members of the society. Let's take a look at a couple of systems. If you live in the US, capitalism is the system that you are closest to. True capitalism is generally defined as a system in which production and distribution are controlled privately and not by the state. This usually is realized in a free market economy with little government interference. Now we'll examine the pros and cons. The benefits of capitalism involve incentive for innovation, increased availability of a wider range of products, lack of government interference, and theoretically, everyone having an opportunity to do well. Practically, some government interference is often necessary to make some essential products available at more universally affordable prices. Also, the nature of capitalism often results in a range of wealth classes which often have the rich getting richer and the poor staying poor. Through a distributive justice lens, those on the poorer end of the spectrum tend to work more, bearing more of the burden, while those on the really high end of the spectrum tend to receive much of the benefit from that work. This system is not very distributively just, as the benefit received is not necessarily based on the effort made. On the other end of the economic continuum from capitalism are forms of socialism. The various forms of socialism are often confused and mislabeled. The crux of any variation is based on the social ownership of the means of production. This means the government has greater control over what is produced and how it's produced. Like everything in this topic, it's not black and white. Government control of production can happen at various scales. One common form of socialism, democratic socialism, is prevalent in Europe. This form, more commonly than not, involves some socially controlled aspects. Oftentimes, healthcare falls into this. Democratic socialism also still allows for private ownership of businesses and property. Democratic socialism still has some aspects of class division, but the divide between the rich and the poor is often smaller. The ability to afford inelastic needs is also higher because of more centralized programs, including healthcare. This all comes with the side effect of lower economic freedom, however. The more extreme form of socialism is communism. Even further away from capitalism, communism consists of a completely government-controlled economy and relies on no private ownership of property. This relegates all people into one class, more or less. All production and distribution is controlled by the government, leading to no economic freedom or mobility. This structure offers no incentive for innovation and no incentive for working harder, as everybody receives the same benefit regardless. Theoretically, this system is incredibly distributively just, but in practice, people are able to put in less work for the same reward, setting things off balance. In addition to this, the nature of the heavily controlling government and inflexibility of production can result in a lower quality of life. In some cases, an authoritarian leader at the wrong time can severely harm a country built on a communist structure, like how Stalin starved millions, both on purpose and through lack of planned infrastructure. The last structure I want to talk about today is a little more archaic, going back to the medieval period. That's right, we're looking at feudalism. Feudalism is a system primarily based around three classes, namely the nobles, the knights, and the serfs. In this system, the nobles owned the land and allowed the serfs to live there, provided they worked it and yielded the resources produced to the nobles. The nobles paid the knights to protect their land. Distributively, the work comes almost entirely from the serfs, while almost all of the benefit went to the nobles and knights. In addition to being incredibly distributively unjust, the nature of the system relies on the serfs having an extremely low quality of life and being treated fairly poorly. Following the enclosure movement and with increasing urbanization, feudalism became rather obsolete. Because of its relative absence in today's world, you might be asking, what purpose talking about all of this serves? It is important to look at systems beyond what is commonplace in our current state. Forgetting about the possibility of other systems and limiting innovation can prevent us from finding a system that truly works well, both in theory and in practice. Thanks for watching Bash Course Economics. We'll see you next time. The Bash Course team is Sam Mencimer, Estela, Millan, Eamon, Pasha, Ishaq, Sarah, Orozco, and myself. Please put any questions you may have in the comments below, and we'll do our best to answer them, or find someone who can. Thank you for watching Bash Course, and as they say in my hometown, oh my EOSH.